right, welcome viewers. So let's begin. Okay. Best evening, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. To our wide audience from the different parts of the globe, I would like to welcome you all in this very special event where we will all gain more knowledge about our mental health. This is Charlene Mae Canlas, YANA officer of Rotaract ASEAN, and I will be your host for tonight. Hey, we are so glad that you guys made time to watch this another episode of YANA Live. And we're actually on the fourth episode for tonight. And guys, you can always rewatch the previous episodes of our live stream. You just have to go to our Facebook page and you'll see there and click the videos. You'll see there the compilation of the videos of YANA Live. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's like everyone is coming in, right? So for our first time viewers, I would like to give a brief background about our YANA project. Okay, so the global pandemic COVID-19 lockdown measures gave birth to the project You Are Not Alone. It is a Southeast Asia mental health initiative where it strives to pioneer an integrated effort of various leading mental wellness NGOs in the region. So guys, YANA responds with three-pronged initiative. The first one is that it is a regional listening hotline. The second is the ongoing online educational workshops. And the third one is the localized grassroots outreach in every ASEAN country. So guys, if you are going through something and you need an ear to listen, or you need a shoulder to cry on if you feel depressed, reach out to our representatives because you do not deserve to suffer in silence. You can see there in the comment section below the link or for the Google form in order for you guys to be connected with our representatives. And guys, always believe that there will always be a silver lining behind every cloud. There will always be brighter and more positive days ahead. Just always remember that you are not alone. Okay. So guys, for your information, we are using this Facebook platform because we believe that the social media platforms are very powerful tool in order to reach and reconnect hundreds or even millions of people around the globe. So our organization targets to reach hundreds, even thousands, or even millions of people because we believe that every life matters, you matter, and mental health matters. Hey, so are you guys excited for tonight? Let me see in the comment section below. Are your ears ready to listen for our discussion? Hello, good evening, guys. So before we begin, let me greet all our viewers from the FB live stream. So Mr. Nasim Malaco, the president of RCDM Scholar, hello. Shane Hazel Medrano from the Philippines. Okay. And guys, while watching, I would like to encourage everybody to please give commentaries and please feel free to ask questions in the comment sections below. So our facilitators would pick them in order to be addressed by our beloved speaker after her amazing discussion. It will be a huge help for you guys to start the watch party so more people would have their eyes open about the mental health and the state of ACADEME. Okay. So guys, in partnership with the Mental Health Coalition, Rotaract ASEAN proudly presents the fourth episode of YANA Live, the Guidance Counselor Diaries, the state of mental health in the ACADEME. So guys, if you have any idea about our topic for tonight, you can comment down below. The topic that we're going to discuss for tonight is really time relevant. And we all know that mental health shall be always prioritized, especially in our schools or universities, because these institutions mold the future leaders of our country. Am I right, guys? Okay, so for tonight, our very special speaker will share us her thoughts and experiences throughout her job as a guidance counselor in a prestigious university. She'll give us an overview about guidance counseling in schools, the state of and impact of mental health in students, as well as the different guidance counseling mechanisms. So in 2004, she graduated via psychology in the Ateneo de Zamboanga University. In 2011, she took up Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling in the same university. She was a guidance counselor of Ateneo de Zamboanga in 2006 to 2015. Then in the year 2015, month of August, she took and passed the licensure examinations for the guidance counselor. This is really amazing. Year 2015 to 2017, she was Ateneo de Zamboanga's guidance counselor. Then in 2017 to 2019, she was a guidance counselor and the coordinator of Ateneo de Zamboanga Senior High School. In 2019 up until now, she is a guidance counselor of the same university, and she's also the director in the Ateneo de Zamboanga College Guidance and Counseling Office. And our spectacular speaker is a contented and a happily married woman for 9 years and counting, with a 6-year-old amazing son. So everybody, let's give it up for our amazing speaker, Ma'am Sheila L. Tiong. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Charlene. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. So I'm good. I've been looking forward to this. As with any speaking engagement, when it comes to guidance and counseling and mental health, I always have difficulty saying no. So it's always a yes when it comes to psychology, guidance, and counseling, especially mental health, mental wellness, especially during these times. How about you? How are you, Charlene?
I'm very excited, ma'am. I'm really looking forward for tonight because I really want to learn more about mental health in the state of ACADEME. And guys, so before our speaker begins her talk, I would like to remind everybody to please hit the like and react button. And please read our lovely speaker in the comment section in order for us to know that you guys are still active. Hey, so ma'am, you can begin and share us everything that you want to share us.
Sige. So if you notice, it's more like the introduction revolved around Ateneo de Zamboanga University. So I'm bringing with you Ateneo de Zamboanga University. So my experience as a guidance counselor, as an employee, and as a student revolves around this institution. Guidance and counseling for the past 20 years, perhaps, in the Philippines, no? In the Philippine setting. Siguro, it has started to slowly change for the better, given that before, guidance counselors were not viewed as what they are viewed now. So our roles these times, especially for the past 5, 10 years, has slowly changed, and individuals, people, students, teachers, even parents have come to appreciate the important role of guidance counselors and the importance of mental health. It's important to note that mental health, our brain health, it's just like our body health, our physical health. So hopefully with this session and other sessions on mental health by YANA and other organizations, no, we get to remove that stigma na if mental health, we get scared. We become shy or so self-conscious to go to a professional and seek help. But let's try to change that perspective and understanding that our mental health or brain health, it's just like our body health. It's when your tummy, for example, is too ouchy, you need to go to the hospital or to the ER to seek professional help from a doctor. So same with mental health. And if you notice now and have a clear perspective of how our brain health or mental health works, it all starts from here. Then the other body parts just follow. So when it comes to our mental health these days in the academic setting or in the academe, I can say that our students are slowly becoming more aware, becoming more open to seeking counseling, to seeking professional help. It's like before, they had this notion that if you go to the guidance and counseling office, it's because you will be punished, or it's because you have a problem. But slowly through the years, siguro for 5 years or so, we've slowly changed that, especially with the Guidance and Counseling Act of 2004 that we have. So in terms of the mental health status of our students nowadays, it's very clear that there has been an arising, diba? A rising of cases when it comes to quote unquote depression, anxiety, or students who consider non-suicidal self-injurious behavior or suicidal thoughts or really suicidal plans. So in this case, it's important for those students who are able to observe these classmates or these co-students who manifest such characteristics or such behavior to to talk to them and as much as possible be able to encourage them to seek the help of the guidance counselors. So in our case, for example, in the Ateneo de Zamboanga University, I can see that for the past few years, we're able to slowly change that stigma or remove that stigma from our students. But the bigger challenge, I think, based on my observation, based from my talks with students, especially those students from coming from the public public junior high school, public elementary schools, still that stigma of what guidance and counseling is, that stigma of what mental health is still there. So the biggest challenge for us all, both in the private sector and in the DepEd schools, is to continuously, with much effort, to remove that, at least to lessen, so that students will be more aware that anytime they feel the need to talk to someone, they always have that office or they always have that persons or those persons, equipped persons, trained persons to help them make sense of whatever it is that's bothering them. Because if you will just listen to their stories, many of these students really don't need medication. It's more of really processing their experiences, processing their feelings, processing their thoughts. So that's how it is in the academy. So arising cases of students who report to having anxiety but not really clinically diagnosed, or to having depression but not really clinically diagnosed. From my end, I think it's because also that information is just there. It's like I'm feeling sad, for example, then I want to understand where this sadness is coming from, or I want to make sense of the sadness or irritability or overeating, etc. So I will Google. The tendency to self diagnose. So just be very careful of that. If we notice, as with anything, there's always the pros and cons. So this information that's just readily available in the internet, for example, at times it can do more harm than good. So far that's it. It seems like I'm going everywhere. Sige, Charlene. So anything else? Like
Mhm.
some points to clarify on?
Okay, ma'am. So it looks like that we have lots of students watching us in FB Live. So, ma'am, what do you think are the contributing factors that these students have? That's why their mental health is really affected by now, especially in this time of pandemic.
So these factors, it's not only limited to our students. It also affects us, adults, professionals, everyone. But most importantly, our students, given their age and given that they're very social beings. Diba, our millennials, they're very social beings. They're used to going out with friends, eating after class,
Yes.
going out on weekends, sleep over, etc. Then boom, one day the government instructs us to stay at home, to be on quarantine until such time we've come to realize that I thought it would just be 15 days. I thought it would just be a month. Then now we're moving towards to 5 months and so on and so forth until we no longer know until when this will end. So that's one factor, the inability to control, that sense of no control. As with any human being, that's one of the very things that we need to or we would like to make sense of every day. What will I do when I wake up? I'm used to this routine. I'm used to this schedule. I'm used to these daily activities. Then one day it was cut off until such time you're already lost because it has completely changed and you don't know how to start or where to start. So that's one. And next also the inability of not being able to personally get in touch or to personally connect with a person, with a person or persons, given
Yes.
that we are social beings.
Yes.
Then next also, uh, the news that we watch almost every hour, every day, and most of the news that comes out of our television, our radio, even on social media, if we're not very conscious of filtering what information we will be reading, we will be viewing, then without our awareness, it slowly creeps in and it's slowly doing havoc to our mental state. So far, that's the top three that I can think of right now. The the inability to take control or to take charge of what we're used to. The next, the inability or siguro missing that personal connection where you get to feel understood, to feel appreciated, to feel heard. Because really, even if we have this thing that we're doing right now, it's very different when you get to see your audience, when you get to talk to the person like face to face. There's that special connection that's unexplainable when you do it face to face. And lastly, there are still other factors, but these are the top three that I can think of right now. Last is the things that we keep on feeding our head every day, every hour. So be very careful, beware, be very conscious of what you feed your head through the things that you view, through the things that you read, through the things that you feed. So that's
Okay.
it.
Well, ma'am, as a mental health practitioner, do you agree with the starting of classes held online amidst the pandemic?
Mm, ah, Personally, so this is my personal take. For me personally, I agree with the idea, but there were many students where I've had contact or interviewed or read their responses with this online PFA questionnaire that we've been doing as part of their enrollment, that many of them would want uh, a halt on this online online learning setup, because for them they don't view it as effective given the limited resources. Like for example, in our city, the brownout, unscheduled brownout, then the erratic internet connection. And like for example, in our institution, many of our students come from the islands or come from the provinces where the internet connection are very erratic or are poor. But for me personally, I am with this virtual setup for learning because, as I've mentioned earlier, one thing that that's been bothering our mental health for the past months is because we our routine was put on hold.
Yes.
So, yes, our routine was put on hold. And I think with this virtual learning, with this virtual setup, we can slowly, not right away, we can slowly, gradually adapt to it. We just have to be open, keep our hearts and minds open, and adapt to it in spite of the challenges. Remember, it's because of the challenges that we face and overcome that we become better at anything, at everything. So there are always pros and cons with anything and everything. But for me, we need this online learning for our students, especially to not stop from the learning that they've had It's like, for example, my 6-year-old who's now in grade one. He's been playing every day for the past 4 months, and his online learning, more on the modular type, started last August 3. It seems like he already forgot the lessons that he had back in kindergarten, given the number of months that he stopped studying, or that he stopped doing academic work, since he was just playing every day. So this time, it's like not really going back to zero, but more on going back to three, when we could have been in like seven or eight. So again, as with anything, there are always the pros and cons, but if we just keep our hearts and minds open to adapting, adjusting as human beings, that's part of our nature, adapting, adjusting, then slowly we will get to do better with this virtual setup that we're having right now. So for me, it's still a goal.
Okay. That's precisely correct, ma'am. That's a very wonderful opinion of yours. Well, yes, I really believe that learning should still continue amidst the pandemic, that we students should not stop, and this pandemic should not really stop the students from gaining more knowledge. All right. Okay, so ma'am, I think it's time for the question and answer portion from the different viewers all around the globe. All right. So let's have this first question from Ma'am Amina Shane from the Philippines. All right, ma'am. So her question is this. There are students who are struggling with mental health problems. However, being a workaholic is their coping mechanism. Is it good? Is it bad? What can you say about this? Okay, ma'am.
Thank you for that question, Amina. So it really depends. It really depends. I personally am guilty of that. It seems like this pandemic, this work from home setup, it's both my coping at the same time. It at times gives me stress. But in most days, or in most situations, in most instances, it gives me that sense of fulfillment, that sense of me doing, giving contribution to what is happening these days. So my point here is, as with anything, again, there's always that pros and cons. It's like this person, you cannot live without this person, but at the same time, this person can hurt you that much. So when it comes to mental wellness or mental health, then being workaholic, it depends. It's you who can say, or who can tell when to stop, because it's no longer doing good to your mental state. And it's up to you to tell when to continue pushing, because it's doing more help than the stress, or than the negative aspect of it. I'm not sure if I'm making sense. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but I see it that way, because by being workaholic, or do, especially when you work for what you love, when you work for what you're passionate about, there will always be frustration, there will always be
Yes.
that exhaustion. But if you look at it, that frustration, that exhaustion, that's those are the very things that would make you better in the process, and those are the very things that would make you look into what else can you do, so that you can overcome that frustration or exhaustion. Did I answer your
Yes.
question, Amina?
Well, I guess, ma'am, I think you really did answer her question. Well, for me, yeah, I also believe that, ma'am, because whenever I was having a hard time and I was about to have a mental breakdown, well, me as an artist, I really love to dwell to the things that I'm really passionate about. And yes, it makes me feel good whenever I'm facing lots of difficulties. Somehow it eases everything that I feel. Okay,
That's
so
true.
you Yes,
And in
ma'am.
connection to that, being an artist, at times you need that sadness, diba? You
Yes,
need that anger, for example, for you to be able to create better art.
yes,
It's like emotions, they're always in pair. So you
yes,
wouldn't
ma'am.
be able to appreciate happiness or joy if you haven't experienced sadness. So same goes with our work. So it's up to you as the worker to identify, to know when to stop or when to continue. As with mental breakdowns, I think it's just normal for all of us to have that every now and then, as long as we know how to move above it or how to get back on our feet and move forward.
Yes. That's precisely correct, ma'am. Yes, I do believe in that. You know that our emotions really plays a vital role in making the things that we really have to do and in our responsibilities, of course. And guys, viewers, please, if you have questions, you can comment down in the comment section, and our lovely speaker will definitely address them. Okay, ma'am. I think Ma'am Amina still has another question. Okay, so this is her question. Can you enlighten us more about the high level functioning anxiety?
Mm, okay. So as with anxiety, so I wouldn't use labels. Uh, I wouldn't use scientific labels. No, I will discuss further about anxiety itself. As with anxiety, similar with depression, it's a myth that we need to remove it from our system so that we'll be able to live a full life. Actually, we can still have anxiety or depression, for example, and choose to live a full life. It's really a matter of identifying or acknowledging every time anxiety hits, its symptoms. For example, uh, cold hands, cold feet, racing heartbeat, worst, inability to breathe when you have panic attack. But the important thing is for you to acknowledge, to affirm its presence. And from there, you get to learn how to manage it or how to cope with it, how to live with it. So it's like identifying what are the triggers. It could be a memory, perhaps. It could be a situation, a person, or a particular thing, for example. So acknowledge that this memory is one of my anxiety triggers. So every time that memory hits you, for example, or goes back to you, for example, in a particular day, so what can you do about that memory? It's just a memory. It's no longer there in front of you at present. So, yes, I am feeling anxious because of this painful memory, for example, but I can just park it there and do what I need to do at present. For example, I have a deadline to meet. If I will dwell on that painful memory from the past, surely I won't be able to start with anything. And my due date, my deadline is about to happen. So who will suffer from the deadline, etc. So there, you can still choose to live a full life, even with anxiety or depression, even with clinically diagnosed anxiety and depression, by acknowledging it, framing it. Then, if it's there, okay, you cannot harm me anymore. I won't allow you to harm me anymore, given that you're just part of my memory, part of my past. Then this time, I will face you in this manner. So that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very wonderful explanation. And it looks like Ma'am Amina has another last question for tonight. Hey, ma'am. So her question is, ma'am, as a guidance counselor, how do you create a boundary between you and the students that seek counseling?
Mm, that's a good question, Shirley. Actually, that's really one of the heaviest struggle that beginning counselors face, especially if the counselor gets too attached or gets too involved with the student's case, with the student's experiences. So for me personally, I've had difficulty adjusting during my earlier years. I think, as with anything, experience, years of experience wherein consciously I have to put the boundary. It's like when I handle a difficult case, for example, there were times, even now, no, there were times wherein I unconsciously get to bring this case even in my sleep or even when I get home after my office work. It's like even in my dreams, the conversation, the scene happens. So if that happens the following day, I should, I should, with effort, consciously be able to park it, to park it. It seems abstract, but with practice, one gets to do it. Just like anxiety earlier, it brings back the hurt, the painful memory. So acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge the pain, but then it's done. So I have to park it so that I can fully function this day. So same with being a counselor and students. With experience, with practice, consistent practice, one gets to learn where, how to put the boundary. But still at times, especially if the case is difficult, I get to still bring it. So again, I need to remind myself, especially my head, that this moment, this time, work is done. So I will face that case again next week, for example, when I get to meet my client or student for the follow-up session.
Mm, okay. So, ma'am, it's like it's also important for you to filter everything that you learned or you knew about that client. Okay. Uh,
Right, that's the word, filter, filter, or to put a shield, to
yeah.
put a face shield in our context these days, not like a shield.
Yes, it's like you also have to protect yourself.
Yes.
Right. Okay, viewers, if you really have questions, you can always comment down. Don't be shy, guys. You can always comment down. Okay, ma'am. So we have another question, and this is from Mr. Jerick J. Turno from Zamboanga WMSU Psychology. So he is a psychology student. Okay, ma'am. So this is his question. What can you say to the recent trend psychological test online, specifically the DAS or the depression, anxiety, stress scale that easily interpret the emotion scale of the user? I've
Mm.
encountered this one.
Yes, same here. There were FB friends who posted their results online, and it
Yeah.
appeared in my news feed. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about uh, you checking on yourself if you have the symptoms, etc. So same with this, no? Again, that's the downside of information online, or that's the downside of having all this just within reach. So it's like the explanation here, it's like you going to have your laboratory tests. Like for example, you want to check your urine, or you want to check your cholesterol, you want to check your sugar. So your blood will be extracted. Then after an hour, you get back to the laboratory to get your results. Then the med tech would usually tell you our natural response is always to ask the med tech to interpret the results for us. But he or she would remind us or would tell us that it's up to our doctor, medical doctor, to interpret the results and to psychoeducate us on what to do so that, for example, the results will go back to normal. So same with this test online. Actually, they are valid, they're reliable. It's just that it's not up to the test taker to do the interpretation, even if the interpretation is available. You can read the interpretation as is, but the tool is just a tool, one factor that may give you the answer that you long to know, but then that answer might not be accurate because there are other factors that you need to consider. Like this DAS gave you this mild depression. Then after reading that, then the interpretation, etc. Diba? Our brain would right away make us feel some bodily sensations because you want to believe that what you read is true. That's the purpose of us actually taking online tools or online tests in the first place. But then again, that's only one tool. And a tool is not the answer in and of itself. So if you sense that the tool is right, you might want to you might want to talk to your school counselor because counselors are also trained to interpret tools and to help you make sense of the tool plus your current situation, your current experiences, your current thoughts, your current feelings. And then also, uh, be very cautious with these tools because, again, anything that you just take and right away believe, your body, your mind will slowly also convince that it's true. And without you knowing, you're doing more harm than good. So again, with Western Mindanao State University, they also have really good, competent counselors. So if you sense that you want to know more about your test results, the tool that you took online, you can always check with a counselor from your university. So it's a caution, so word of caution, don't right away believe the results with these online tools, though they're accurate, but it's only one thing. There are other things that you need to consider for you to better have a clear understanding of what the interpretation means.
Really right, ma'am. I really believe that we really we really should not diagnose ourselves with just one tool, and especially from the internet. And sometimes not all these sites are all the same. Some are not legit. It's really
Right, exactly.
okay, ma'am. So we have another question. This is from Miss Ravjot from Malaysia. Okay, this is her question, ma'am. It's needless to say the damage COVID has done so far. To add on to that, alcohol and other psychoactive substances are now increasingly used by many adults, seeking relief from unpleasant emotions, anxiety, or even depression. Do you think this can further affect the students' mental health when they try to adopt this culture coming from these people? And how can we overcome this issue, especially when students are using those adults as their idols or example?
Mm. Well, more on the medication or medicines that are supposed to be prescribed by psychiatrists. Is that it? So, for
I
example,
yes, ma'am.
yes. So, medication. So, buying these medicines without consultation or proper prescription from the psychiatrist, it's like self-medication. So, self-medication. And we know for a fact that self-medication, it's like you have this simple cough, then you right away buy this particular syrup or this tablet in the hope to treat that cough because you believe that it's just a cough. And often than not, maybe that cough may just be a simple cough for you, but you it's like maybe it's just a simple cough for you, but if you check it with the doctor, it could be another thing. So same with Yeah. So same with this drugs or these medicines that should be prescribed by a psychiatrist. And we know for a fact that these medications are not easily bought in pharmacies without proper prescription from the right professionals. So siguro the bigger question is how are these adults, for example, get to buy these medicines without the proper prescription from the psychiatrist or from medical professionals? It's me clarifying how it happened or how it happens, because for example in the Philippines we cannot just buy any medicine or drug that has to be prescribed by a psychiatrist. So personally, I haven't heard such in the context of the Philippines or in Zamboanga in particular. So that is very dangerous, especially if the adolescents or the young adults are copying these adults who are self-medicating since they are their idols. So again, as with any self-medication, most often than not, it might do more harm than good.
Okay, that's true, ma'am. And in addition to Ma'am Rab's question, it's like she's also pertaining that we all know in light of this COVID-19, there are lots of people who really feel depressed, and most of the time, people are really seeking for alcohol.
Mhm.
And some students, like their parents, of course, they can see it from their parents. And what do you think that these students should do if their parents are bad examples that could really affect their mental health? What do you think that these students should do, ma'am?
That's a good question, or that's a good point, Charlene Rav. That's the problem. That's the problem. So that's another problem of the problem. If the parents are the ones showing or teaching their kids, their children, the wrong coping.
Yes.
Same with school authorities, for example. Like in counseling, for example, when a student goes to the counseling office because of this concern, etc. So one of our technique is one of the things that we do is to psychoeducate the student about what he or she is going through. Then we teach healthy, good coping skills. But the problem is, or the bigger problem is, the students, the student gets to understand as to how to cope with it well. But when he or she goes home and the problem is there and there's lack of support from the parents, and the parents, for example, don't believe in counseling or don't believe in mental health, then how can the student himself or herself be able to apply what he or she has learned in counseling? So same with this, the drinking, alcoholism, etc. How can we educate further or better these students if they themselves see it from their parents? It's like who are we, for example, to tell them? But we can only do so much, and it's up to them. It's up to the students to choose whether to follow their parents or to choose the other way. So as human beings, we always have that freedom to choose. And if, for example, they will take the courage to have or to follow the other path than their parents, then good. But if unconsciously they get to continue the cycle of their parents, then that's the sadder part. That's the more difficult part. So again, it all boils down to educating or psychoeducating and choice. Choice from the person taking responsibility. And I'm sure the students, they know what's right or wrong. It's just that they have better excuse, easier excuse because it's their parents. So if their parents do it, might as well I have the reason, the more reason I have. to do it. So it all boils down to right decision by the person or by the student.
That's precisely right, ma'am. I remembered what my professor told me before. He told us that it's your life, it's your choice. So basically, it's not always about what your parents want to do for you or what you've seen from your parents. It's like you have your own will to do the right thing. That's precisely right, ma'am. That's a very wonderful message for the viewers for tonight because most of them are students, right? Okay, ma'am. So there are lots of questions coming up. Okay, this one is from Mr. John Mark Miranda Santos from the Philippines. This is his question, ma'am. How can we create an environment as young leaders for citizens suffering from mental illness to feel safe enough to talk?
So again, let's go back to the stigma that I've mentioned earlier. So this, what YANA is doing, it's a good avenue for the youth, for our society to be well educated, to be well aware of what mental health is, of what therapy is, of what guidance and counseling is. So I hope personally that after this pandemic, our society will be more accepting, will be more gentle, will be more real, will be more compassionate when it comes to topics on mental health or mental illness, and will be more accepting of individuals, especially students who who are manifesting symptoms perhaps or behavior but are scared to talk. So it's more of really, again, going back to individuals, going back to the person who is suffering to take the courage, to take the courage, to take that first step to opening up to the right person. Because even if our society is still not that open when it comes to these topics, when it comes to these issues, but we always have those individuals, those organizations like this one, YANA, who are willing, open, to support, to give support, to listen, to understand. So it's really a matter of knowing whom to approach, when to approach, how to approach. So personally, as a guidance counselor for 14 years, it still is my dream that as we move forward and as we work on coming out alive, coming out better of this pandemic, our our openness to mental health issues in particular, will be more accepting because really we see evidences that it's real. It's not just imagined or it's not just made. We see friends, we see family members, we see relatives who are suffering in silence. So you have the responsibility as an individual to help your fellow individual. It may be difficult at first because as with anything that you're not comfortable or that you're not an expert of, you'll really have difficulty accepting it at first. But again, as with anything, we can always adapt. We can always adjust as long as we are willing to face the facts. We are feeling willing to face the truth. So with those students suffering in silence, know the right persons, know the right institution, know the right organization like this one, YANA, and take that courage. Take that courage to take that first step by opening up, being true to how you truly feel. What is it that you are suffering, etc.
That's true, ma'am. Right. Okay, viewers, just like what ma'am Sheila said, that Yana is always really and very willing to help. And guys, if you're really suffering from depression right now and you really need to talk to someone, You can comment down below or even message us in our FB page, and then you can go and connect with our representatives and have a talk. It's true, ma'am. And I always believe that every individual can be a hope for somebody. It's really
Yeah.
a very wonderful answer, ma'am, right? That's why it's important that we should always treat other people in a good way because we don't know what they're going through. So
Right.
it's really right that we should always spread kindness. All right, let's move on to the next question. Hey, ma'am, this is from Johanna Carmela Apuli. What can you advise to the students on how to relax on mental state after an online class? This is a very timely, relevant question.
Oh, sige. Can we do an exercise?
Oh, that's great, ma'am. Okay, let's go.
Sige, Johanna, let's try this exercise together with the others, no? Uh, we all know because we experience it almost every day how this online transaction is. Okay. So this mindful grounding or mindful exercise, it's very easy and you can do it every day in between breaks, just like your merienda or just like your morning snack or your afternoon snack. So I just learned this like 2 weeks ago, and it's called STOP. So STOP is an acronym. So we'll start first with S. Okay. So S, which stands for stop. Like
So,
literally stop everything that you're doing right now and just focus with this. So like for example, for Johanna, stop with messaging perhaps, stop with thinking about your requirements for tomorrow or your online class for tomorrow and just focus on this YANA live that we are doing for the next few minutes. So stop. Stop your thoughts, your crazy thoughts, your wandering thoughts, and just focus on the screen. Focus with what you're feeling. So stop. And if you are aware, you are sure that you're already in the present moment because you've already completely stopped with what it is that's not in connection with what we're doing right now, then we can move to the next. So T, take a break. Take take a breath. So take a breath or breathing. So let's remind ourselves of what is the right breathing or what the proper breathing is. Actually, it's a sad fact that as we grow older, we forget or we tend to forget what it is to truly breathe. So the proper breathing is using your stomach or the belly breathing. It's like when you observe a sleeping dog or a sleeping puppy, you can see the up and down of the stomach. Or if you observe a sleeping baby, you can see the up and down of the stomach. So as we grow older, accordingly, we become too self-conscious of our stomach and we always want it to be flat. So we forget how it is to breathe using our stomach. So let's try it. So take breaths or take a breath. Usually I do it for like 5 counts, so the proper breathing. Put your right hand over your chest, and then your left hand over your tummy. So 4 seconds to breathe in through your nostril, then 6 seconds to breathe out through your mouth. You can do a whoosh sound, or you can just do it silently. Sige, let's begin. Inhale through your nostrils. 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, we'll do it in our head. Did you get to feel the rising of your tummy when you did the exhale? So the point of the longer exhale is because to release all the carbon dioxide. So inhale the oxygen, then release all the carbon dioxide. So let's do it in 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it 3 times. Silently counting in your head. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. So how does that feel?
Feels
The
great.
inhaling. I
Relax.
yes, I hope you got to feel calmer and relaxed. So now let's move on to the O for observe. So observe, for example, observe one thing that is color green. So look for one thing that's color green. So in my case, I see my green mug. Then look for something that's red. I see a red echo bag. Something that is white. I see my extra wide headset. Then something orange. I see my child's gun. And then something black. I see my black cell phone. So the point of observing is, again, being in the present. Because from time to time, our mind tends to wander. So pull it back by observing at least particular objects when you were pausing. So after the O for observe, if you are certain that you are truly present with what you are doing, then we can proceed. So that's it, Johanna. After your online class, when you're so tired and need to prepare for your next online class, you can do the stop. So S for stop, like literally and figuratively stop. Then T, take a breath or take breaths. So the proper breathing using your belly. Then O, observe. Or you can observe how your body is feeling at present. Like, are your shoulders aching? Is your back aching? If it's aching, then you can perhaps stand up and stretch a little. And after that, after the stretching and you feel better, you can proceed with what you have to do next. Maybe take a snack, or maybe take a bladder break, or whatever it is. So stop in between breaks, do the stop in between breaks every day. And then your focus will be good again. So I hope that helps. So that's one of the many things that you can do.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Sheila, for teaching us that wonderful technique. We really, really, really need that one because I believe that most of the students right now are having struggles in terms of online classes, and most of the time they get frustrated. I can see lots of posts in the social media about online class, and yes, this will truly help us relax and have our minds cleared out. Okay, ma'am. So let's move on to another question. So this question is from Jaime Miko Salva. Okay, so this is the question, ma'am. How can we help or benefit our friends, classmates, fellow youth leaders who have adopted negative practices in coping up? Like, for example, mobile games, becoming drunk, etc. during this pandemic and drastically change their self and relationship with others. Is this fine since we are in a pandemic? What can we do to help these people who are really close to us?
So again, that's the difficulty with this online setup. Unlike when we can still do the physical thing, so we can just go to the friend's house and check on the person or check on the friend physically, personally, with that personal touch. So the first question, is this friend aware of the addiction or unhealthy coping that he or she has slowly developed? How aware is this person of that unhealthy coping? It's okay to play every now and then, but if you're too focused or preoccupied with playing to the point of you forgetting to eat, you forgetting to wash up, you forgetting to do the things that you're supposed to be doing as a student, for example, so that's already unhealthy. So how aware is that person? So you as a friend, how aware is your friend about his unhealthy coping? Next, how open or how willing, how ready is that friend to remove that unhealthy coping or to change that unhealthy coping? In the first place, maybe he is not aware that it's already unhealthy because that's the purpose of him getting awake the following day. But you as a friend, you know that it's unhealthy and we know that it's unhealthy. So there, how aware is that friend? How ready is that friend to remove that or to change that or to accept that it's unhealthy? And how did you find out that your friend's day, your friend's everyday revolves around this unhealthy coping? Did he or she in the first place shared it with you? If he or she shared it with you, then find an opportunity for you to try to teach or to try to enlighten his mind, his or her mind, about other alternatives, other healthy coping alternatives.
Thank you so
That's it.
much, ma'am, for answering that. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Jaime. Okay, another question, ma'am. So this is from a teacher. Okay. So another from Mr. John Mark Miranda Santos. So in a classroom setting, we have a lot of students coming from different backgrounds, cultures, and beliefs. What advice would you give to a teacher about interacting with students who has a mental illness?
Okay. Interacting with student with a mental illness. Uh, the follow-up question is, how did you know that this student has a mental health concern? So if you're sure that this student has a mental health concern and hasn't had the opportunity yet to seek professional help, then you might want to reach out to that student in a private message or a private call just to check, like a simple kamusta ka, how was your day, how are you doing with your academic requirements, how are you coping, etc. From there, you'll get to have the feel or the sense as to how the student is. But the first question really is, how did you know that this student has such condition? So from there, you will get to know what to do next.
Hey, that's true, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering that question. Okay, so another question, ma'am. Okay, this is again from Jaime. Okay, ma'am. So, according to the public narratives in the grassroots community, many are committing suicide due to the numerous factors. How can we bridge mental health to the grassroots community, especially these people who have lost their trust to government and NGOs, who have been exploited just to gather funds? Could you suggest steps or skills in winning their trust back?
That's the difficulty with such groups, no? Siguro one, one can look for someone from the inside, then psychoeducate this person or these persons. It's like these persons that you will psychoeducate will be the bridge, the bridge between the community and the professionals. So for example, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. So if you are into such advocacy, then you can look for those individuals from the said community who are willing to listen to outsiders. So educate them, earn their trust, etc. From them, they can help you slowly get in. So as with anything, you can always find a way, make a way to slowly earn the trust of individuals, as long as you're able to show it sincerely, genuinely. Any person, all of us, can always feel the sincerity and genuineness of any other individual. So it's a matter of how, how, who to contact from the inside. So
Okay, thank
that's
you.
it. So I'm not sure if I answered his question.
I really think, ma'am, that's really wonderful answer, though. Okay, viewers, I would like to remind again, please don't forget to like our FB page, Rotaract One ASEAN, and support Project YANA by sharing our page, FB live streams, and upcoming events. Also, guys, click the notification bell on the side in order to get notified to our upcoming events. And also follow us on our FB and IG accounts at YANA CMH. And guys, again, for those people that who really needs to talk to somebody, that for the ones who feel depressed, Yana is open for you guys. You can take a look at the comment section, and the Google form is right there that you can all sign up to it. Right? Okay, ma'am. So thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question, and thank you for teaching us those things that we really have to remember, especially the stop. It's really helpful for the students because I know that most of the students are really driven to reach their dreams for the betterment of the society and for the country. But yeah, let us always include our health, specifically our mental health, of course, because these dreams will be all useless if we're not going to take good care of ourselves. And let us not forget to take a pause and breathe from time to time. Okay, ma'am, from those questions, I think it's time for me to ask you some personal questions about your wonderful experience as a guidance counselor. Ma'am, is being a guidance counselor your dream since you were a child? What moved you or what made you choose this profession in the first place?
Okay, so about childhood dreams, I realized that I actually got to do it before and now. Back in grade six, I already knew what I really wanted. I wanted to take up mass communications like you.
Okay.
That was my dream, really. But then when I was about to graduate from high school, during that time, uh, there were many reporters killed during that year. So my dad didn't allow me to pursue BS Mass Communications. So I enrolled in this particular course at that time. HRM was the booming course, Hotel and Restaurant Management, since one of my uncles was working in a restaurant abroad. So for practicality's sake, etc. So I took the course. Then during my first semester, I've had the opportunity to take psychology 101, so general psychology. At that time, I was so confused, 17 years old, finding identity, role confusion, according to Erickson's. I was asking what I truly want, who am I, etc. So at that time, psychology opened my eyes to to what it is to truly be you, to truly be me, to truly accept who I am. So I fell in love with the course, And after that one semester under that, I fell in love with the subject. So after that one semester, I took courage to talk to my parents and told them that I want to shift to psychology. So this time they allowed me. They even asked me if I still want to pursue mass communications. But that time psychology was was heavier for a want, for a need than mass communication. So I pursued psychology, and after that I never looked back. So before graduation, after graduation, I always dreamt, imagined myself working in the academe. I can never imagine myself working in another setting. So I had this opportunity to work in in a company as an HR staff for like a month, but then I wasn't happy nor satisfied. So I went back to my alma mater. And that time, the chairperson who used to be my teacher told me to apply for a teaching post. So I did teaching for like 3 semesters. And after that, I rested. Then I was so eager to go back to working. So I'm not sure as to what, but I was certain that anything that includes psychology. And so I thought, why not pursue Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling? So during my summer class, one of my teachers who used to be my teacher back in psychology, who was a guidance counselor and still a guidance counselor now in LaSalle. So hi, Sir Archie Siason. So one of the good teachers and counselors back in Ateneo de Zamboanga. So he encouraged me to apply for a guidance counselor post in the high school unit. So before it was the high school unit, now it's the junior high school. So that was 2006, where the high school unit transferred to the newest campus, a bigger campus, a wider campus. So I was part of the first batch of faculty and staff who worked in that new campus, wider campus. So from there, I never looked back. It's like what we always tell each other as counselors in the office. This guidance and counseling that we are doing every day with our students, it's always a win-win for us. If the students think that we are helping them, no, it's really them helping us getting a better perspective of how life is. For me personally, having had the opportunity to work with junior high school students, with senior high school students, now with college, I've become more prepared on how I want to be as a parent, on how I want to be as a wife, on how I want to be as a person, as a better person every time. So going back to your question, I'd like to believe that it was fate, that it was fate and faith. See, I wanted to take up mass communication because back then, when I was in grade 6, I would watch ANC News. I would look, I would admire Pia, and I would imagine myself like you, how you talk, how you explain things. I would imagine myself doing that, but then it never happened. But there are no regrets because I still get to talk. I still get to talk in front of a group, in front of audiences, like this one now. Like I feel like I'm a newscaster. So see, it's like those dreams, maybe that course wasn't really for me, but still the work that entails from that course, I still get to do it because I still get to communicate with groups. I get to communicate with people. I get to write as well. So that's how it is. So currently, moving forward, I still see myself as a guidance counselor till I retire. Because again, personally, it's a win-win every time. True, tiring, but most of the time, it's the good kind of tired that I look forward to every day. So it's like the question earlier from Amina, where she said workaholic, then this workaholism gives her much exhaustion and stress, something like that. So same with this. So get so exhausted, get so tired, but I always look forward to that kind of tired because that kind of tired gives me that sense of fulfillment and contentment. So that's it.
Your purpose is really wonderful, ma'am. It's like you're reaching tons and hundreds of years, and then you're also helping them by heart. You're really inspiring most of the youth, all of the youth that's been listening right now. Thank you so much, ma'am. Um, okay, ma'am. So, what do you like most about your profession as a guidance counselor? What is the most favorite part or favorite thing that you do in your profession?
Seeing positive change in clients. Seeing positive change in clients, even if I don't get to see it right away, or at times I never get to see it. But the fact that that client or that student goes back to you, or that client or student tells his friend or her friend, then another student goes to you and tells you that he or she wants to seek counseling because this friend did better or got better. So I think that's one of the many wonderful things that I'm thankful for psychology, that I'm thankful for counseling. Not immediate, it's a process. At times I don't get to see the progress or the affirmation, but the fact that students go to you, parents go to you, teachers go to you, staff go to you, it means that you're doing something right, that I'm doing something right. And they get to share their innermost personal struggles, innermost personal pains, innermost personal joys. That's something that at times only you get to hear it. Not even their loved ones or their parents get the opportunity to know it. Only you, because the trust is there.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. So, for the students who are listening for tonight, would you also encourage them to take up guidance counseling as a future profession?
That's that's a difficult question, very subjective. Uh, the fact, reality, you have to experience it for you to know what I'm I'm sharing, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to make you understand. What's the bottom line of this point? I have counselor friends, colleagues who transfer from one school to the other, especially those colleagues from the private school. Then after getting experience, they realize that the private school, for example, or the private setup uh, is it is too small or is too small when it comes to the salaries and benefits, for example, and they opt out and would choose that ed schools, for example. Nothing wrong with that. We know how difficult it is, especially in our context. My point here, Charlene, is with guidance and counseling, you can easily lose track. You can easily become unmotivated if the reason for you to choose guidance and counseling for a profession, for a career, is not clear or doesn't come from the inside or from the willingness to truly help another. If your reason is because of salary or whatever external reasons, you will easily get burned out. You will easily get dissatisfied because, as with anything I've mentioned, you need practice, you need experience, you need moving forward, at times pausing, a step back, then moving forward again. So the point here is, I would highly encourage, but really the decision is still up to you, because guidance and counseling work, it entails a lot of personal giving, especially giving of yourself, giving of your time, giving of your energy, so that the other person who needs your presence, who needs your skills, will truly feel it, will truly feel it, will truly get something out of it. Because if you only get into this profession because of other external reasons, and not because of that very clear reason that you want to truly help the other person become better, then you might just get unmotivated and tired. I hope I'm making sense. It's like, as with anything, like for example, becoming a teacher. I'm sad when I see teachers who lose passion, who becomes unmotivated because of the workload, etc. But if your motivation, if your reason to choosing this particular career or to choosing this particular work was clear in the first place, was that deep of a motivation or of a desire for passion, then no matter how difficult the workload becomes, no matter how difficult the day becomes, you can always go back to that deep passion, to that deep desire to hold on to, so that you can slowly move forward a step at a time. So that's a sad truth nowadays. It's like many wants to become successful, but they fail to see the bigger, the bulk, the sacrifices that they first need to put so that they would become successful in that field. So same with guidance and counseling. So be clear with your motivation, with your desire, with your passion. From there, build it up, build it up. And slowly, if you're sure, then pursue it. I tell you, if you will truly pursue it from the deepest recesses of your heart, the satisfaction, the contentment, sobra, sobra, like indescribable. Like at times when I just think about clients who became better, like it's like time froze, and that sense of joy just flashes back, and you still feel it, even if it happened years back. So that's it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for those wonderful words. We're truly inspired right now. It is really true that we really have to look at our hearts of what we really are passionate about, because we should not just take a path that we really don't like. It's really wonderful, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So I think we should wrap up with this last question. Okay, ma'am. So this is from the Zamboanga City Youth. Are there any means on how we can seek help and consultation?
Mm, okay. You can check with schools. At present, actually for like a month or so, the Zamboanga City Medical Center came up with this initiative wherein it's actually not just a city project, it's actually a regional wide project. The idea was for the city to come up with this program wherein there will be a structure or a system wherein if this client seems to fall under the average category when it comes to mental health needs, so he or she can seek this professional. If it's high, so this professional, etc. Same with schools. So the contribution of the schools in that program is the respective schools who are catering their students, they will contribute in the statistics of the region when it comes to mental health concerns. So this Tatag ISIP program, it already has the program and the structure, the clear structure, and the people, the organizations who are involved, especially the schools. It's just that it's still waiting approval from our city government. So it seems like with the rising cases, with the rising of COVID cases, it it hasn't been checked yet, perhaps. So in case you feel the need to contact professionals, you can check with hospitals, their psychiatric department, private hospitals, but we know that private hospitals are expensive when it comes to psychiatric treatment. So you can check the Zamboanga City Medical Center psychiatric ward. So they have really good psychiatrists, and the payment, it's more of in donation or in kind. And for schools, like for example, for Ateneo de Zamboanga University, the College Guidance and Counseling office, we accept outside clients for free. We do online counseling. And also the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, Zamboanga chapter, they also do online counseling for free. You just have to go to their website. So look for PGCA Zamboanga chapter. Then they have this online form to fill out. Then they will schedule you or tie you up with a counselor. So for Ateneo de Zamboanga, for the college unit, the College Guidance and Counseling Office, we allow outside clients for free. We attend out to outside clients for free. I'm not sure with other schools, but for psychiatric help, Zamboanga City Medical Center, so donation or in kind for the fee. And we also have the private hospitals. But with private hospitals, the psychiatric treatment is expensive. So that's it for Zamboanga. So let's hope that this Tatag ISIP program, which was initiated by the Zamboanga City Medical Center, will come to our reality. So we're just waiting for the go signal or approval. That's what I can remember from the last time, like 3 weeks ago meeting that we had. They're just waiting for the go signal from the mayor's office. So from there, they will be having a hotline wherein individuals, students, parents, individuals who would want to talk to someone, there's a hotline number if the program will launch. So that's it.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am, for answering all the questions. You have answered all those questions from the bottom of your heart. I can really feel it. And you have opened the eyes and touched the hearts of many youth who's listening right now. Thank you so much, ma'am. I've always believed that, yes, every single life has a power and purpose to change the world. So if you guys are really going through tough times, always remember that there are more people who's always willing to help. And Yana will always be here ready to listen to you guys. So again, if you're going through tough times, you can PM our FB page or even take a look at the comment, and you're going to see the link of the Google form, and then you can go and register for it to have a connection with the representatives of the YANA. Okay. So guys, please don't forget to like our FB page, okay? So that you will be more notified for the upcoming projects and upcoming live streams of YANA. Follow us on FB and our IG accounts. And to our wide audience, we would like to hear, and we would like to know what you want to learn next. You can comment down, message us, and if you really want to connect with the YANA officers, if you have a media inquiry, proposal for collaboration, or speaking engagements, you can contact us in our FB page or even email us at hello@youarenotalone.asia. Okay, ma'am. So as we go through our closing, what is your last message for all the viewers tonight? What do you want them to take to the bottom of their hearts?
To start somewhere is the most difficult. As with anything, taking that first step is the most difficult. Same with seeking help, asking, seeking counseling. Because by taking that first step, it's like you finally acknowledging that you want to be healed, you want to get well, you want to be heard, you want to be understood. So I encourage everyone to take courage to take that first step. You will you will never know how liberating, how so much of a potential you have there in you, because you've been so scared, so anxious of what others perhaps might be thinking if you'll take that first step. But as what Charlene mentioned, at the end of the day, it's your life. It's not another person's life, not even your parents' life, but it's your life. It's up to you to have a fully lived life. So take courage to take that first step towards healing. So, again, thank you so much for having me. And I hope I did justice to psychology, I did justice to guidance and counseling. So, again, I'm very grateful for this profession and I look forward to staying, honing, doing more, getting more, being better in this profession called guidance and counseling. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Sheila, for sharing your wonderful journey as a guidance counselor. We truly appreciate the gem that you have given us for tonight. And we will truly bring everything that you have taught us every step of our journey as a student and a professional. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to have you again. And for our viewers, thank you so much, guys. We truly appreciate all the time that you have invested in this fourth YANA Live Talk. We're hoping to connect with you again and to our next episode and to our upcoming projects in the near future. Please don't forget to like and stay connected with our FB page. And guys, just always remember that you matter, every life matters, mental health matters. And Project Yana is always here to help you. We're always ready to listen and give a helping hand because you are not alone. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, ma'am. It's really an honor to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.